Hello, everyone. It's Thursday. I want to get on here and do a quick update. I just had something come across the desk, and it looks to me like we got sold out. And so the senators that were, doing us all a favor by staying gone, I think they're in talks of coming back. And so what this looks like for us is I checked OLIS. Looks like 2005 has been scheduled for a first reading scheduled today. I don't know if they're going to start back today or tomorrow, and so I looked at all the anti-gun bills, and they are, they're starting to reappear. And so we have 2572, which is the paramilitary bill. That one's scheduled for a first reading in the Senate side as of today. And I'm not sure if it's going to start up today or if it's going to start tomorrow, because I don't know when this information that came out. So I'm still scrambling to kind of track things down, but I want to kind of touch base and kind of talk about what this means. Like, and so, I haven't seen an amendment to 2005, and I think that's a problem for us because we don't know what they took out of the bill. We don't know what they added to the bill. So there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to this stuff. And I called a couple different senators, left voicemails to kind of see if I could get them to kind of comment on where we're at and, what we need to do. And so, the email that I got from OFF, which I put in the group, that kind of has some stuff that we should, with some action items. And it's hard to believe that they went this long not bowing to the pressure, right, from the media, from the left, and then they had a hard turn of face, and now we're back in the position where we were before they walked out. And so I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in multiple things here. So multiple things. So one thing to think about is, Tina Kotick has all the power to adjourn this session and start a special session, because they always say it's about the budget. It's about the budget. And well, if it's truly about the budget, why don't you adjourn, today with the regular long session and then start the budget session, which is the special session? Why aren't we doing that? And so that's, something I want to focus on is maybe that's a move for us where we start attacking and tell our senators and representatives that we need to adjourn this session. We need to focus strictly on the budget. That's the only thing we should be focusing on right now, and let this long session die and let it go into the history books where it belongs, and let's focus on the budget. And we think about it like, from an optics standpoint, this is very much like the debt ceiling. Remember what happened up there in Washington, D.C., where, they were trying to figure out how to prevent the government from defaulting. This is basically a mini version of that. And so that's why I think it's really, really important is we should be focusing on the budget. We should not be focusing on, 2002. We should not be focusing on 2005, 393, 2572. These are all really, really bad bills. And so I'm glad you're here. Thank you for tuning in. I don't know if you guys are hearing me or not. You guys are quiet, which is good, but kind of hurts my ability to be able to reach others is by being quiet and not having any kind of responses. And so try to get on here to catch you at lunch break, and that way I can get back to what I needed to do today. But I want us to kind of think about, why aren't we calling on the governor to call a special session? I mean, I really think that that's a move that we should investigate. And because I believe that she has the power to do so. She's probably pulling all the strings up there currently as it is. But like, if she's truly talks about being uniter, let's let these bills die. Let's focus on what's really important, which is the budget, funding these agencies. That's where we should be. We should be funding, mental health. I was in a meeting day before yesterday. We're talking about suicide prevention. There's no funding in the budget for suicide prevention. And so, that's a real problem. And so, we should not be focusing on gun bills. We are tired, and I'm tired of the fact that it's another law. It's another bill. It's, one more law. This is going to be the one that's going to fix it. No, it's not. None of these bills are designed to do anything to stop gun violence. They're designed to make you and I criminals. And And we have to call it for what it is. It's an infringement, and this is what this going to do. This is going to lead to further litigation in court. And I'm still waiting on that freedom of information request. And we're probably close to. I would imagine at least $2 million in defense of Measure 114, and 2005 is going to face that same fate because they're going to be sued. And yeah, absolutely. If she cares about the state, she cares about the citizens like she supposedly does. She's this supposed tolerant now. She should do the right thing and adjourn this session. And so maybe that's our move. And maybe that's our move as we contact her office directly. Maybe we flood her office and say, hey, these bills need to go away. You have one duty with two weeks left in this session. They have to have everything in order by June 25th. So we got 2 weeks left. You don't have your house in order. So let's call this what it is and let's adjourn the session. Let's go to the budget. That's where we should be focusing. And, we have to fund the budget and we have to fund the government. And she's the one that's going to be in control of that, as the governor. And because what she's going to do is give directive to the president of the Senate, which is Wagner, which he is definitely, a partisan hack and definitely not one of our friends. And so, this would, maybe that's another move as we attack him. And yeah, for sure. I think there's too much stuff. She has too much baggage. This is real. This is a really good comment because you understand, what's at stake here. And so, I think that's where if we can expose and put pressure on that and maybe call her office, maybe send emails saying, hey, you have a duty to this state. You have a financial obligation to the budget, to work together with the minority, the majority. You are the head of the executive branch. We're looking to you for leadership. Show some leadership here. Okay. And so what I would advise is, and I'm putting it out for comment. Is this something that we can all get behind? Is this something where we feel that this would be a good use of our time and just to kind of see, what we can do? If we could flutter with 1,000 emails or phone calls, maybe that'd be enough to wake her up to understand that we are paying attention. And that's kind of the scary part is they think that they can just continue to do what they do and when nobody's watching them. I see a lot of people here that are very, very active and they're doing things. What I was really, really impressed with the other day is I put something from OFF in there and automatically I had people sending emails. Like it was like second nature and they said done. And so that was, hats off to you guys because, it might be a token gesture, but at least you guys are engaging civically. And so I think they're not used to that and they're not used to people showing up. And so, I think, that may be something that we address and going forward is we just fire attacks at her and say, hey, do your job, adjourn this session. Let's go to the budget because that's the budget that's really important because the budget's what's going to fund OSP. It's going to fund the cities and the counties. It's going to fund mental health. It's going to fund all our critical resources. And so, we need the budget to be under control. We need it to be transparent, but we also need these bills to go away. And so the fact that Tim Knopp would come out of hiding and make some kind of deal that puts all of us back on the hook for 2005, I have a problem with that. And so while we should address that with him and let him know how we feel about that, I also feel that he's just playing a part in a game. This is all a game to them. And so, that's kind of where we're at. And so I want to give you guys this update. I don't want to take too much of your time. I know it's a lunch break time for you guys. And so, I just want to, this is something that's on my heart. And this is something where I feel that if we can make some kind of move and the next stop would be going up there and having a presence, which I don't know if that is something that we want to do. A lot of this stuff I'm bringing up for conversation. What do we have in our wheelhouse and our time do we have time to go up there and do some meet and greets with senators? Do we have time? You know, it's all what you guys can dedicate. I can free up some time next week to be up there, and so, you know, is this a move that you guys want to do? And if we can do it together, you know, so I'm just bringing this up for conversation. Obviously, I think what we can do in the short term is we can email the governor and let her know that how you feel and what this does, and so maybe that's our first step, and kind of see where it goes from there. And if we can put enough pressure on her, maybe it's enough to get to her, you know, because she's not going to have time to put all these bills into place. I mean, there's not enough time in the day, and so some of these are going to have to go away, and maybe that's what we put in the lawsuit, or in our emails to the governor, is like, hey, 2005, you're going to be sued. Okay, just short and sweet. Let this session die. If not, 2005, you are going to be sued again instantly. Okay, so maybe that's what we do, is we kind of, you know, push her and put her in a position where she thinks that she can just get away with things, but she can't. You know, she has to listen, and she has to be held accountable. And so absolutely, Alex, 100%. And that's what's happening is the lives, you know, we're talking about mental health services. We're talking about, you know, funding for law enforcement. That's all at stake. And so none of the stuff that they're talking about today with 2005 or 2002 or 393 or 2572, none of those do anything to address the root of the cause of the issue here in Oregon. And what they do is they put us in a position where we're going to be held to a higher standard than a criminal that's committing these gun crimes. And so that, you know, that's offensive to me. And we're not the problem here. We're the ones that are just trying to navigate these troubling times. And we're supposed to have leadership, but we don't have any leadership. And we can look at it right now. And you know, there's some leadership up there, the people that I would support, and those are the ones that I've met and made good connections with. But there's some that are not our friends, and we're seeing that right now. And so, you know, that's one thing. So, yeah, so 2005. So the way this is going to work, Greg, is this is scheduled for the first reading. Okay, so this started on the House side. It's already gone through the whole song and dog and pony show on the House side. It was fast tracked to the Senate side because they're expecting the same thing, the same amount of support. And so what that means is, you know, I would definitely get your house in order. I would be making purchases if you can afford to do so now, just in case. But we have to understand this is just the first reading. Okay, the first reading. So the way this works, it'll go first reading, second reading, the third reading is when it has a vote. If it passes that part, then it would go on to, depending if there's any amendments, depending if it gets referred off the floor to there. So there's some things that can happen, right? So the financial impact, they weren't honest. They lied about how much it was going to, cost the state of Oregon. They weren't honest with that when it comes to enforcement. And so there's some things that they're going to have to kind of clean up when it comes to the language of the original bill, House Bill 2005. And so, you know, that's something to be aware of is, excuse me, is, you know, we're definitely not out of the woods, but it's not like it's going into effect tomorrow. Okay. So that's the thing. And they have a 2-week window. So they have until the 25th of June to get this thing ready for her so she can sign it. They're going to have to do the budget, all of this stuff before the 1st of July. That's when the session ends officially, if we can't get her to adjourn it now. And so that's the only thing I would advise is if there's things you're thinking about buying, when it comes to parts, you know, maybe think about doing that now. And I haven't seen amended language to 2005, so I don't know, you know, what exactly it looks like. I don't know if they've improved it. I don't know if they made it worse. So there's a lot of things that I'm still waiting. I have no updated information from OLS. I checked before I did this video. So, you know, there's just a lot of things that just stink. And so, that's where I'm just trying to be in front of it and make sure that we are up to date so we can stay involved and stay engaged in this fight, because it's not over. Like, I'm waiting for this. I would love this session to be adjourned. And if the session's adjourned, then we can focus on the budget. Then the rest of this stuff dies. So that's where I would love for that to happen. I don't know if we can do that by applying pressure on her. That's where I'm kind of bringing it up to you guys for conversation. And if we can do that, that would probably be a good thing. So get your house in order. That's for sure. No matter what's happening, if we haven't learned anything from, what's going on with 2005 and 114, all these other bills, we really should be more up to date. Oh, Dan, don't give them any ideas. There is lots of room to serialize a buffer spring. Okay. So don't give them any ideas. What if we had to register our buffer springs? What if we had to, because what they're doing with 2005 is they're inventing, like, they're saying that we have to serialize our uppers, which we cannot do. It's actually, they're basically misinterpreting the ATF's guidelines when it comes to serialization. So they're making up their own rules. So there's another part where this should be challenged in court. We definitely do not want to give them any ideas, and because they will definitely act on them, because they don't know any better. They don't know that they can't, let's say, serialize a pistol grip or a buffer tube or anything like that, because I'm not an FFL, I'm not an SOT, so I'm not going to be adding any serialized parts to my guns that I'm creating myself, because I'm not a manufacturer. And under federal law, the people that are going to be adding these serial numbers to parts of guns, they are SOTs and they are manufacturers, and they're authorized to do that. You and I are not authorized to do that under federal law. So this is all, they're reaching at this point. They, it's just full on. They expect us to register. They expect us, that way they know where it's at, so they can come and get it. That's what they're going to do. I mean, that's what you have to look at, the big picture here. This is a big registration scheme. So at the end of the day, if things don't go the way they want them to with all these new laws, then they're going to say, oh, hey, Dan, I'm going to come to your house and come and get it, because we know where it's at. And so, yeah, for sure. 100%, Alex. What happened. And so what was really, really dangerous about Washington is they put, handguns with a threaded barrel. Those are considered, quote unquote, an assault weapon in Washington, which, every gun I have has a threaded barrel on it, because I run suppressors, so, that's something to think about, is these people that are writing laws have no fundamental understanding of the way our firearms work. In reality, we should be countering them by writing our own laws, obviously, and submitting them, running them through the process. That's what we should be doing. There's a way to do it. There's also a bad way to do it. And so, we could talk more about, what that looks like and how we do that. I think it's a little too late in the game now. We should have already done that if we're going to be writing new laws. But that's kind of where I'm at, is we have to go on the offensive. We want them spending money on defense, not us always spending money on defense, So who wrote this? Alex. So can I give you a little lecture? Can I give you a stern talking to here, just between you and me? Okay. So I literally, every time I see this comment, I cringe. And I see smoke coming out of my ears, because what this does right here, I know you're just joking, but I just want to talk about it. Okay. Is when we're talking about boating accidents, it's kind of the cliche thing to talk about, right? That means we've already lost. We've already checked out. We're not being activists or advocates. We are, this is basically lazy man's, advocacy work right here. If we're going to say that we lost him in a boating accident, that means we're not going to do the work to help protect what we have, right? So that means we're not going to be sending emails. We're not going to be calling our rep or our senators. So we're not going to be going up to court, so this is the one thing that I really want to change is about the mindset. I know you're just playing. I just want to bring it up for a conversation is when we start thinking like we lose our guns in boating accidents. Obviously it's never going to happen. I know it's just a funny thing to talk about, but we give up the fight when we do that. And so this is why we have to fight forward. This is why we have to stay up to date and engaged, because we want to prevent this quote unquote boating accident. And I know you're just playing, but it's just something that just kind of irks me, so let's not check out. Let's not lose our guns in boating accidents. And so our guns only do have two enemies, right? It's rust and politicians. And we see that every day. And so we see it on state level where we're seeing on the federal level, so there's a lot of stuff coming at us. And so I think it's just really important that we focus on little bits and pieces that we can control directly. Part of that is we can be calling our representatives. We can be calling our senators, we can be writing emails. This is stuff that we can control, automatically. And this is what we have direct control of. The rest of it, we don't. Everything is, we're putting trust in people that we think that they're going to do the right thing on our behalf up there in the Senate. And as we're seeing right now, they're not. They are thinking of themselves. And because if they were thinking about us, they would show up for work on July 2nd or July 3rd or July 5th. Okay. They would not show up until then if they were thinking about us, Oregon gun owners. And so it doesn't mean come to some kind of compromise that makes it better for them politically. It means they do the right thing and they stay gone so these bills die. And then let's have a special session and let's focus on the budget like we should be right now. That's where I'm at. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that resonates with people. And so, yeah, so 1022 in Washington, it's a mess. It really is. And if we're not careful, we're going to go down that same route. And so that's why we have to stay up to date and stay engaged. And we have to fight this. We have to fight this every step of the way. And, obviously they got a really bad ruling out of their court up there last week, which I didn't spend a lot of time reading because I've just been so slammed. But, and now we're just playing the waiting game, right? So we're waiting for the judge's verdict to be read, and it could take up to a couple weeks. I mean, there was a lot of information for her to digest. And so I'm, fingers crossed that we get the information that we need. We get the ruling. And obviously it's not going to be the end of this saga. I mean, this saga is going to go on to the Ninth Circuit. And so that could take, years for that to happen. And so, whether we win or lose, I mean, this thing is going on to the next court. And then from there, it's probably going to go on to the Supreme Court. I mean, I see Measure 114 because of how egregious it is going all the way to the Supreme Court. So, yeah, I don't know how long it would take unless we get, and the only caveat there is if we get some really good rulings from other courts from around the country where there's enough of this where we erode the basis of it that it just falls apart on itself. Bradley. Boom. Thank you. Thank you, Alex. I really appreciate it. That's good stuff. And so that's where we're going to go next. Okay. So this right here. So this is from Brad. I really, this is great stuff there. I don't know how we do that. Obviously, it takes, I don't know how we do that, to be honest with you, but the sentiment I really support. And I feel that as much as they're trying to hold our senators accountable for, walking out and denying quorum, which was supported under the Oregon Constitution, like this comment right here should have the same amount of weight there. And so, yeah, for sure, Rick, 100%. So this right here, this is the contact for Tina Kotek. Thank you, Alex, for submitting that. So you guys, I'll put a follow-up in there after this video is done. And so absolutely. The problem is it's the end of the session. So we're going to have to wait until the next legislative session. And so, that's kind of where we're at. We gotta make sure that we understand, how this process works. and stay up to date. Typically, we have to have our bills ready to go by the end of December so they can be submitted. Probably need to find a sponsor, so we have some good people up there that I respect that would probably help us with that process. But it's going to have to go through this maneuvering, right? And so, maybe that's a step that we do is um, figure out, some bills that we want to key in on. One would be preemption law. We should really talk about that. We should not have preemption law be affected by legislation. We should disband gun-free zones. There's enough proof around the country that they make all of us vulnerable, and they're dangerous. And so, yeah, I would imagine, yeah, for sure. And so what they would have to do is they would have to have 2/3, because they'd have to amend the Oregon Constitution. So they'd have to have 66% of the vote to make that happen. So that's why it's really, really important we identify people that we can run in the Senate and in the House so we can protect the seats that we have. And so, that's where, where you start playing this politics game. And so there's a lot that goes into it. But if we can hold the numbers or pick up seats where we're at, they can talk all they want about the quorum situation, but they would have to amend the Constitution, which they do not have the numbers to do so. It's just, so they're just trying to tell their people that they're doing something, and they're not doing anything. It's all lip service. So, that's where we're at. So I think I'm going to start off. I'm going to send an email to Tina Kotek, and I'm going to be very, very firm with her. And I'm going to tell her that, she has a duty as the top elected official in Oregon to lead, like she said she was going to lead, and to close out this session and start with the special session so we can start working on the budget so we can fund the state. That's the only acceptable move for her. Maybe if we pile on 500 to 1,000 more with some phone calls, maybe that'd be enough to at least wake them up. I don't expect us to change anything, but if we can wake them up, like I guarantee last week when you guys emailed Lisa Reynolds' office when she showed up in court and she didn't show up the rest of the week, I guarantee that's why. It was really, really bad optics. And so that's a victory on our end. So very, very well done. And so, like, these are little things that, obviously they don't feel like much. They don't seem like much, but they really are. And so, that's all I can do is just say, just we keep it up. Just keep rally, keep the foot on the accelerator until this session ends, and we get a ruling out of federal court, so we got to stay up to date. So, and I'll try to, I've taken a little bit of time off the past couple of days to kind of recoup. I'm tired. But like, I want to make sure that we don't get complacent, because that's why we're here, because we're complacent. So that's kind of where I'm at. And so on that note, I'm going to get off here. I'm going to let you guys get back to your lunch break. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being a part of this. And thank you for, sending emails. Thank you for the comments. That's what helps get this message out. Tell your friends, let them know that, we need their voices here, and we need to make sure that we stand together. And also, let those senators know that, our rights are not up for compromise, and we're going to continue to hold them accountable and make sure that we stop this stuff every step of the way, with or without them. So you just showed us your hand. If you're going to compromise on our two-way rights like you just did, then then we're going to have to replace you, and that's just the way it is. So yeah, thank you, Jesse. I appreciate it. You guys have a great Thursday. I will talk to you as soon as I have more information. I'll let you guys know. But I really appreciate you guys trusting me and being a part of this. And so that really, it makes me feel good. So let's turn it into something. So, all right, you guys have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.